So it's the 4th of July now, and I've just been kind of thinking about the US and its history and everything, which I think about every 4th of July. And I feel like a lot of people don't really fully understand what exactly they're celebrating. You know, with all this crazy stuff going on with politics, with Trump, with ICE, with people losing their rights and everything, you have all these people being like, oh, America is supposed to be the land of the free. It's supposed to be, we're supposed to have all these rights. I can't believe things are changing. But the truth is they're not changing, because it's always been like this. We've never actually had all these rights, and we've never actually been like the land of the free. None of that's ever been true. Originally, this land had good people and had good culture and its own culture, and it was its own thing until the British decided to come over and take over. They committed mass genocide on the natives here. They forcefully killed and took over the land, stole the land from those original natives. People overall lost more rights than they originally had. These white colonists that took over only gave rights to other white colonists. The colonists brought over black slaves. They treated women essentially as slaves. There was no freedom or independence. Everyone, including women, had more independence and rights than when the colonists came over and fucked everything up. People act surprised when they hear about all the stuff going on with ICE and the mass deportation and the prisons that they're being sent to, but that's not new for the US. The US did that to the Native Americans. I mean, early on in the 1830s, they passed the Indian Removal Act, which began the mass relocation of Native American tribes. The government used military force to relocate Native Americans and imprison Native Americans. Even worse, in the 1860s, the US government started rounding up Native Americans, stealing them from their homes to forcefully relocate them. And starting in 1879, the government rounded up Native American children and forced them into these boarding schools where they stripped away their culture as they attempted to ethnically cleanse Native Americans, completely erasing their culture from the world. There's even the Trail of Tears from 1831 to 1850, where they rounded up all of these Native Americans to relocate them and forced them to walk across the country with no food or water. So many of them died. So many people died as they were forced to walk across the country, as they were forced to relocate to the worst part of the country. And that's why it's called the Trail of Tears, because so many died from it. An estimated 16,000 deaths just from the Trail of Tears alone. There was also the whole thing where the US started imprisoning Japanese American citizens and forcing them to go to camps because they were paranoid that people with Japanese ancestry, even though they were born in the US, would somehow be tied to the Japanese government. People lost their homes, they lost their jobs, they lost their land, and it was just pure racism. Ever since the colonists took over, the US has always been evil, just straight up evil. It's always been racist. It's always, like, we've had so many instances, like, throughout history. It's not just an old thing, and it's not just a new thing. It's always been a thing. But the US government has forcibly ripped people out of their homes, put them in prisons, sent them to camps, deported them, just because they're not white. That's what the modern version of this country was founded on, was genocide, was killing people who weren't white and taking over. The whole idea that this is the land of the free, or that America is supposed to have these rights that other countries don't, just isn't true. And it's more, I feel like it's more of a goal than, I feel like a lot of people see it as something we're trying to get back to, but we've never had it. So if anything, the most it is just a dream that people are trying to reach that the US has never had. But with that in mind, it's not something we ever had, so it's not something we can celebrate, because it's just there's nothing to celebrate. So with all these people celebrating quote-unquote Independence Day today, I wonder, and I just want to ask all of you, if anyone's watching, please think about this and let me know, like, what are you even actually celebrating? What's the point? Are you supporting a group of people that committed genocide, that took away people's rights? Are you celebrating the loss of rights? Are you celebrating a good culture being killed by these colonists? Instead of just blindly celebrating or blindly falling for the whole idea that we're celebrating freedom or that the US is free and that these colonists fought for freedom, instead of blindly believing that bullshit, I just want people to be aware of what's actually going on and what actually happened, and people need to not forget history. We can't just ignore what happened, and we can't just ignore the true history of this land. Today, for me, more than anything, has more been like a day of grievance and reflection, just thinking about the history, what these people did to the natives, where our country is going. And obviously, no one born today contributed to any of the genocide or ethnic cleansing of the natives. And it's none of our fault that any of that happened in the past. I think now we, and when I say we, I mean everybody, all of you, all of us, I think we need to reclaim the country. We need to make this country what we actually want it to be. We need to actually make it, for the first time, everything that we used to believe it was. A country where everyone's free, where everyone's equal, where everyone has human rights, where everyone has equal rights. Because while what happened in the past isn't any of our fault, what's happening now is. And a lot of people recently have been making a lot of bad decisions, and that's why we're in this whole mess with the Trump administration. So please, do research, learn the history, the true history, look at all perspectives, all angles, and have empathy when doing all of this. That's probably the biggest factor. And then vote, fight, protest. Make this country what you want it to be. It's not too late to fix everything. Anyway, that's my rant tonight. These are a lot of thoughts I've had. I just wanted to get them out there. I hope it reaches someone, and I hope it makes even at least just a small impact. But if not, I'll still be here, and I'll still keep fighting. Thanks for listening.